What's up, guys? We're gonna BroBeats. Today I'm gonna be showing you guys how to make loops and then how to arrange them. If you guys haven't subbed already or turned post noise on, make sure you do so because it does help it a lot. So let's hop right into it. My BPM is just the standard 140. All right, and I'm just grabbing my favorite scale because I want this to be as easy as possible and I don't want to be taking all day. So I'm using my F sharp minor. You can use whatever you want. All you have to do is transpose. So let's go ahead and get started with the first sound. All right, so now we have Capsule, and what I'm gonna do is just show you a quick way to make a melody, and this is super easy. You could do this on start your beats literally like this every time. So I'm gonna pick just our root, and this looks a little weird. All right, there we go. Start here. So all you need to do is just make a chord all the way up until you hit the second part of this. So this is the first three notes of our minor. So once we hit this section again, we stop. So I'm gonna pull this up an octave. So we just fill it in. So skip that one, and we're just making a chord all the way up until we hit this, and then we add that +1. And this is your range for making a melody, right? So now for our bass, I'm gonna copy this, pull this down an octave, and then what we need to do is you can do the same thing, but I like to go backwards for my bass. So we make a chord backwards, and then we can, let's offset it like this, and then add that in between. And you probably see this pattern a lot. And then we can maybe add like some bounce in there so it's not so stale. All right, so let's pull this up an octave because I don't think we can hear these notes. All right, so let's focus on this part. So now we have a range. Let's Shift D, make these smaller, and we can pull these notes over when we don't know what to do. So I'm gonna pull this A over because it's the start, right? It's a blank canvas. Let's offset it. And then let's use this B. And then we could pull these over. Okay, so you can see how this is working, okay? And then we can reuse some of the notes we already have. So let's use this B. Let's do like a little flam with this, with the C. And let's maybe use this A again. Okay, you can see we're just using the same notes. And then let's repeat this F. I think that's fine. There we go. All right, so now let's do like a little out part to this so we can loop it. And this is pretty easy. We can just take this pretty much, well, I probably should have just copied this. Sorry, I'll do it manually. Let's add a flam. All right, simple as that, right? You just want some outro. It doesn't have to be like this. It could literally just be one note, but you can see how easy we can start a melody. So let's go ahead and shift this over, and then we can kind of manipulate it to add other notes for variation. All right, so now this is the variation part, and this is pretty easy. You can go as far as you want. I'm gonna just do some slight changes. So I'm gonna just go ahead and play some notes, and pretty much it's the same thing. We just add notes to in-betweens, right? So for example, we could just use this G sharp, and then maybe move some of these. And then every change I'm gonna make it a, like, I don't know what color this is, like a purplish white color. So I'm gonna delete this and use this C, and then I'm gonna pull this C up an octave so we can kind of continue the flow, right? Let's actually use let's go into this. And I'm gonna offset these a bit so it kind of flams up. let's add one more of these. We could just do something like that. Then over here, we want to make this a little bit different. Matter of fact, let's just delete it. And we could just play around with these notes. And let's go up an octave, come back down. Okay, I think that's pretty good. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our second instrument. All right, next up, we got the chamber vibe preset from Capsule. Okay, so all I did was pull this whole melody down an octave, and I'm gonna copy it over. And what we wanna do is create a like low energy part with this. So I'm gonna just play them all together real quick. And real quick, I'm gonna make a change. I'm gonna pull these over a bit. So I kind of want to have a little bit more bounce. And let's copy this back up here. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay, I like that a lot better. All right, so now we got this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mute this first one. I'm gonna just copy this over so we can keep that safe. And then with this, literally I'm just delete like a little bit of this top. And then we could just use these little notes. And this should just be pretty simple from here. Because we want the same vibe, right? Well, let me make this larger so I can see. We want the same vibe, but we don't want to ruin, like, you know, we don't want to change it so much to where it sounds like a different melody, right? So let's just keep it like this, simple notes. And then I'm gonna pull this over here. Delete this. It's probably a better way to do this, but I'm just doing it this way. So now we have our full part, and this is for our loops later, or when we put it into the playlist. All right, so let's move on to our next sound, which is a guitar. All right, next up we have a guitar, and I'll just put some reverb in the settings here. Okay, so let's go back here and let's zoom in. We don't need this whole little part. So if you do that first part I showed you enough, you'll pretty much get like x-ray vision for melodies, because it is a formula, right? We have the root, and then if you just pull it, and I'm gonna pull them over here. If you just pull everything up an octave until you hit this beginning part again, now you have a blueprint for melodies, right? This is your blueprint. So we could literally just start here. Let's maybe throw one of these C's in here. Okay, and then these are the notes, right? So let me explain this real quick. These are the notes you want to hit. So if you go here, you want to land on one of these blueprint notes, right? And then you can fill in everything else in between. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here, and this is way too small. So I wish it would just stay the same size. All right, so let's go ahead and finish this out. We can just go up back into the C, and then let's go down into our F. And let's maybe, I don't know, throw this in. Let's see. All right, and we can fix the velocities a bit. And just let all these bleed. Okay. Let's pull it over, and now we can just make some variation. So let's go to the F, and let's literally just use this pattern. All right, and that's pretty much a guitar. So now we're just gonna add the bass, and we'll be finished with this. All right, so now we have our bass, and this is pretty easy. You just take these notes, and then you can obviously venture out and use other notes. But this is pretty much, see, like, oh my gosh, bro. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna just use this little pattern. I'm gonna probably make it like super broke. Well, we could just keep it like this. And then I'm gonna pull maybe pull one of these notes over at the end and pull it up and repeat it. I'm gonna control L so everything goes to full length. Add another one right here, and I'm gonna pull these up and then maybe pull this one down. All right, let's see what it sounds like. All right, I like that. So now we're gonna move on to the part where I'll show you how to lay it out for a loop. All right, so let's get started with the arrangement. Now this should be pretty easy. What I'm gonna do is give you guys like a guide or a template to follow, and I want this to be universal because not everybody makes trap beats, right? I want this to be universal to all genres, so I'm gonna give you minimum required to at least get your stuff laid out. So what you wanna do is copy this pattern. And the reason we copy it is because you will probably want to add sounds once you lay it out. So you want to have your reference all together, because if you split this by channel, right click, split by channel, and you try to add something, you're either gonna have to make a new pattern or you're gonna have to come here and try to use one of these as reference, which will be extremely annoying. So let's pull these down, right? And I think what people struggle with is the timing, right? They struggle with the timing. So I'm gonna take care of that right now. 8 bars per section. Okay, now if you have let's cut this up. If you have a part, or if your melodies are only 4 bars, you just copy these twice until it's 8 bars, and then that will be your full section. Okay, so 8 bars, right? Even if you're 160, right? 8 bars, and then what you want to do is, why is this acting like this? Do 4 sections, right? And I'll explain why 4. You could do more, and there's plenty of people that do way more than this, but I think as minimum required, I think this 4 sections is good enough. Let's delete this. All right, so in the beginning, you get your point across, right? Because when people listen to the melody, right, when they click over here and they listen to the melody, you want them to hear it, right? You want them to hear what it sounds like. So I usually just add all my sounds. You can do what you want. Okay, and then this will be like your hook, and then in between this will be like a verse area. So you kind of make this how you want. You can add automation, clips, effects, all that stuff that you want to do. All right, because you will give them stems anyway, so they'll have the dry files. So I'll just take out maybe this and take out that. So I'll play it. Okay, and then over here, just kind of a low energy point, so you can kind of make a beat over, like this can be like the verse area of a beat, right? And then at the end, what I like to do is add an outro and intro. So what I do for that is I take out sounds, or usually just take out the bass. For this, I'll just take out the bass, and then we can kind of maybe pull this over because I don't want this repeating so much, right? So it should sound like an intro or an outro. All right, and it's as simple as that. All right, so remember your 4 sections. You got your hook, right? And then you got your, I guess, verse 1 and verse 2, right? Which can be used however you like. And of course you can like take out stuff and edit it how you please. And then your outro and intro. And that is required, the minimum required to have like a full functioning loop. So now this next part is very important if you want to save space and you don't want to have to buy hard drives. So what people do, they say, okay, I got my loop ready. Let's go ahead and put the stems. And this is annoying, especially if you're downloading it, right? So what people do is they say, all right, let's go ahead and do it. Well, actually, I'm gonna just Control R, right? And then you pull up your thing. So as you can see, if you split by mixture tracks, you can see this number here, 2.3 gigabytes of space you'll have to have on your computer, and you'll have to upload, and then people will have to download. Nobody wants to do that, right? And if you just do 1 track, it's going to be 19. But to avoid this, right, what you want to do is you want to split these up, right? So you want to split them up like this. Okay. And then this one should be a little bit longer, so I'm gonna split that up. Now you're probably gonna be scared, like, oh snap, the loop gonna be 2 minutes. Don't worry about that, all right? So what you wanna do, because this is going to be off, if you put this into a loop, right, these are gonna be off and not on beat. So what you wanna do is hold Control T. What Control T is gonna do is put a time marker. So when you put a loop down, or when you make it into a loop, like an actual sample, it'll have these time markers so they know where to chop it. So Control T at the beginning and end, Control T, and just do that for the beginning and end of each chop. And make sure I got this right. Control T, Control T, Control T. Or actually, let's make that a little bit longer. Control T. Okay, so now if we go up here, have it armed, go to this, render it out, and I'm gonna just fast forward this part and everything. So, and real quick, if you look, you can see the time is doubled, but the space is only 46 megabytes for this whole entire file, right? At the max resampling rate and everything, 32-bit float, right? All right, so I went ahead and just renamed it and everything. Now you can see we have our loop. Let's mute this. We have our loop here. So when they get it, they're gonna get their loop. And then over here, you're gonna see the time markers are gonna be here so they know where to chop it. All right, let me make that a little bit bigger. Zoom in. You can see they know where to chop it for each section, right? Very easy. Okay, and I'll leave a little bit of space in between so that we get these nice tails so that the sound doesn't just abruptly stop. All right, so that is how you do that. This should take you as far as you need to go. All right, so that is it. That's for this video. Hopefully it's helped out. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.